Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Oh, hey there! How y'all doing? Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Carving It Up Live. It's presented by The Grid. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we are on Twitter. As always, I'm Bryson Carver, and I am on Cloud 9, right next to Rocky Top, as far as I'm concerned, because for the first time since 2006, my University of Tennessee Volunteers have defeated the Alabama Crimson Tide. Did it by a final score of 52-49. Oh my goodness. This feels good. I'm telling you, I gotta admit. I was feeling confident about this game. You know, it was getting out of hand for a while. But all in all, we got the W. We 6-0. We're the third-ranked team in the country. 52-49. Y'all know what it is in the building today. We got a loaded show, no question about it. But this is my friends of Vol Nation. And for all of Neyland Stadium, for all of Knoxville, for all people who call themselves Tennessee fans, you know the words. Home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top. Woo! Rocky Top, Tennessee. Now listen, I know that there some of my friends in Alabama are sad today. And so this is for you. This is for you. You know, I know some people who are Alabama fans. They're very upset, and certainly were on Sunday. So this is for you. This is for you. This is for 15 years of misery. Gone away. Gone away off the foot of Chase McGrath. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hendon Hooker, Josh Heupel, the GOAT, Jalen Hyatt, Brew McCoy, everybody. Jabari Small, the defense. Man, this feels good. I'm telling you, this to me, folks, this is second in my life in terms of pure joy from a victory outside of my Golden State Warriors winning the championship this season. Man, this feels good. But we've got a packed show for you guys today. Of course, a lot of NFL talk. Going to get some baseball predictions. We're about to have 2 league championship series set. We got 1 set, but I'll talk about all that later. Because all that matters right now is that my Tennessee Volunteers beat Alabama 52-49. And for those of you that didn't watch the game, first of all, I want to say I'm really sorry to hear that. I hate that you missed one of the best college football games in decades. Certainly the greatest Vols game I've ever seen. One of the better Bama games I've seen. And they played in some classics, certainly under Nick Saban. But when it was all said and done, with 15 seconds left, after 15 years of misery, 2 completions. 1 to Keaton, 1 to McCoy. Set up McGrath in field goal range. And here's what happened.
Chase McGrath for the win for the Volunteers. From 40. On the way, a knuckleball. He got it! The misery is over on Rocky Top.
Oh, shoot, I forgot we were doing a show. My bad. But listen, what a moment, right? Vol Nation, particularly obviously the student section and moving back, all rushed the field. Let's just say the goalposts had an eventful night. The goalpost on the side of the field where McGrath hit the field goal, the walk-off field goal to beat Alabama, was taken through the stadium. Took a little tour of Knoxville, right? Knox Vegas, as we locals call it. And then it was all said and done, just like they did back in the day. The goalpost ended up in the iconic Tennessee River, next to the Vol Navy, where she will remain till all eternity, for all eternity. But what a night it was. I'll take the glasses off. I'll get a little serious now. You know, when you're a Tennessee fan, especially if you're a Tennessee football fan, because we, for the most part, have a pretty successful athletic program. Both men's and women's basketball are excellent. Baseball, softball, baseball had a great year this year. Wasn't able to get to the College World Series, but certainly building something under Coach Tony V. But when you look at just Tennessee athletics as a whole, we do pretty good. And for the longest time, Tennessee was known as a football school. I mean, you think about all the great players that have played at Tennessee: Willie Gault, Reggie White, Peyton Manning. Just a decade and a half ago, Eric Berry, great chief safety. He played at the University of Tennessee. We've produced a lot of great talent. For a while, we actually held the record for the most NFL draft picks in history. I think we've been surpassed since by Alabama, but we may have a chance to make a comeback in that department. But when you root for Tennessee your whole life, you get your heart broken a lot. You do. And for the last few years, I can't say that I have, aside from the few games here and there, to simply put my expectations weren't that high. Why would they be? Haven't been to an SEC championship since the College Football Hall of Fame head coach Phil Fulmer led this group back in 2007. I believe we lost to Auburn that year. Haven't been back to Atlanta since. A lot of heartbreakers at the hands of Florida, Georgia, Alabama, all kinds. We had a heartbreaker last year against Ole Miss and Purdue in the bowl game. We've seen a lot as Tennessee fans. And in particular, this rivalry, which used to be one of the premier rivalries in college football, the third Saturday in October. Tennessee, Alabama. And Bama, since 2007, essentially since Nick Saban took over, they've never lost to the Tennessee Volunteers. And make no mistake about it, they have kicked our you-know-whats for the majority of those games. But we've had our fair share of heartbreak in regards to being that close to ending the heartbreaking streak. Almost ended it early back in 2009. Need I remind my fellow fans of the University of Tennessee of Mr. Cody of the Alabama Crimson Tide, who blocked not one but two potential game-winning field goals. Alabama actually went on to win their first national championship under Nick Saban that season. Need I remind you, in 2015, when the eventual Heisman Trophy winner Derrick Henry ran wild on us, Tennessee actually held a 1-point lead with about 3 minutes to go. And then Derrick Henry happened, and we lost that game. Then you fast forward to just a few years ago. Streak's starting to build up here. Tennessee is on the doorstep of making it a one-score game with about 7 minutes and change to go. We ran a quarterback sneak. There was a fumble, and future Dallas Cowboy Trayvon Diggs picked it up, went 100 yards to the house to seal the deal, and we haven't come that close since until Saturday. And when you think about Tennessee, what makes it really special is not the fact that we beat Alabama, or not just how we beat Alabama in terms of the 60-minute game. It's what we built to get to the point to beat Alabama. I follow Freezing Cold Takes on Twitter. Okay, if you don't follow Freezing Cold Takes, they're a great follow. Basically, their job is just to bring up old sports takes that look really bad. And they're pulling up a lot of tweets from January of 2021. Folks, this is just a year and a half ago. Just a year and a half ago. January of 2021, when Josh Heupel was hired to be the new head football coach of Tennessee after the disastrous 3 years, which I predicted, by the way, Vol Nation, of Jeremy Pruitt. NCAA scandals. Pruitt was fired. You had numerous players, including a Bama player, Henry To'o, enter the transfer portal. It's like, man, you thought it couldn't get bad for Tennessee. You couldn't get worse for Tennessee, and it is. They hired Josh Heupel. Low-profile UCF head coach, former quarterback at the University of Oklahoma. And he comes to Tennessee with his offensive mastermind. Hendon Hooker, who today is the Vegas favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. To start the 2021 season, he was the backup quarterback to the guy who's now the backup, Joe Milton. He took over the second game against Pittsburgh, hasn't looked back since. In that span, since week 2 of the 2021 season, Hendon Hooker has thrown a grand total of 3 interceptions. Brew McCoy, transfer from USC. Chase McGrath, the hero, also a transfer from USC. You talk about guys like Jalen Hyatt, who entered this season, a a lot of Tennessee fans viewed him as kind of like the third or fourth best receiver on the team. He catches 5 touchdowns, which is a Tennessee record. 4 was the record, so essentially he shattered it. He almost doubled it. Against the likes of the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young. Against an Alabama offense, which Tennessee's defense up until the end could not stop. But if there's one thing we know about Alabama losses, most notably, the most iconic example of this is the kick 6 back in 2013 in the Iron Bowl. It don't matter how much money Alabama has in that athletic program. It don't matter the 5-star recruits they bring in. For whatever reason, they cannot find a kicker to save their life. And Will Reichert was another example of that. He missed the 50-yard field goal with, again, 15 seconds left. And I was watching the game with my sister. I said, this is poetic justice. 15 seconds to erase 15 years of misery at the hands of this one football team and football program. Hendon Hooker, folks, was absolutely sensational. Sensational. When you talk about what he's done to this point, is he the Heisman? Is he not? Is it him? Is it CJ Stroud? Is Bryce Young still in that discussion? Is Jahmyr Gibbs, the Alabama running back who had a great performance, is he in that discussion? Hendon Hooker separated himself, okay? You look at his numbers from the game against Alabama, okay? You look at his numbers. He went 21 for 30, okay? 385, 5 touchdowns, a QBR. Keep in mind, folks, QBR is 0 to 100. It's not the same as passer rating, 0 to 100. Hendon Hooker had a QBR of 94. He was flawless. The pass rush at the end, getting to Bryce Young, forcing that long field goal, which gave Tennessee a chance. Again, folks, when you're talking about a team that has, without a doubt, the best offense in the country, 6 games thus far. Want to know what Tennessee's point totals are through the first 6 games of this 2022 season? 59, 34, 63, 38, 40, 52. That's what the Tennessee Volunteers offense has done thus far this season. And so when I'm looking at my Vols, sitting there as the 3rd-ranked team in the country, I personally would have put them 2nd. I think Ohio State and Tennessee are better than Georgia. You could make a compelling argument for Michigan after the way they played against Penn State, the way they ran the football. But I'm looking at my Vols right now. I see that you got a couple games against UT Martin. Pretty tough one against Kentucky. Will Levis is going to be a first-round pick. A great quarterback. It's a ranked team. And then the big one. Georgia in Athens. It's a road game. Toughest test of the season. The first test was at Pitt. We passed. The second test was to beat Florida for only the 2nd time since 2005. We took care of that. Passed that test. The biggest test of all, without a question. Biggest test in the last 2 decades for Tennessee. They passed. By the way, I said they would win by 3. How many did they win by? Oh, that's right. That's right. I was just checking. And Georgia in a few weeks. Tennessee beats Georgia. We head into Atlanta. And not only we head into Atlanta, but if you look at Tennessee's closing schedule after Georgia, if they're able to come out with a big win over the Bulldogs, Missouri at 2-4, a solid South Carolina team at 4-2, and Vanderbilt at 3-4. Tennessee will run the table, and regardless if Tennessee wins the SEC championship game, possibly a rematch against Alabama, look out for Ole Miss the way they're playing. Who knows? Folks, my Vols will be headed, I never thought I'd be saying this before the season, to the college football playoff, where we'll have an opportunity to win a 2nd national title in the last 2.5 decades. As a matter of fact, Tennessee, fun fact, actually won the first BCS national championship game back in 1998. T. Martin, okay? All the great receivers we had there, Peerless Price, the great defenses we had, Philip Fulmer, head coach. It's starting to feel just a little bit like 1998, if I do say so myself. And so, to my fellow Tennessee fans out there, we did it, but the job's not finished. However, enjoy this one. Enjoy this one for a long, long time. And again, folks, for those of you that are not Tennessee fans and maybe do not understand the joy and the jubilation that comes with beating Alabama, who not only has been the standard in college football since Nick Saban took over there, but again, historically, not in the last 15 years, but historically, Tennessee's biggest rival. People are like, it's not Florida? Well, Tennessee, Florida have only played 50-odd times. Saturday was Tennessee and Alabama's 105th matchup against one another. I think the first matchup was in, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, 1905. I think I'm correct on that. It's not Georgia. Okay. It's not even the in-state, which it's not really much of a rivalry because we pretty much own them, but it's not even the in-state SEC team in Nashville, in Vanderbilt. No, historically, it's been Alabama. The Hall of Fame head coach Bear Bryant once talked about Tennessee and how he measured his team's, success, or he could see where the team was at by how they performed against Tennessee. This is how far back this rivalry goes, folks. General Robert Neyland, okay, all the great coaches that we've had. And Josh Heupel, folks, is in the process of stamping himself in that group in only year 2. And this goes to show you, folks, if you have the resources, which Tennessee definitely has those, that's never been an issue. If you are able to bring in a coach who's capable of great recruiting, which Josh Heupel is, and then at developing young talents. It's not just about bringing the talent in. Ask Jimbo Fisher. How's Jimbo Fisher doing with all those 5 stars at Texas A&M? It's about developing the talent. It's about getting the most out. It is about simplifying the game to the point where anybody could perform in that offense, or in this case, in Tennessee's defense, at a high level. That's what Josh Heupel has done. And so right now, I ain't even going to lie to you. I'm not only smelling Atlanta. I smell Los Angeles. I smell college football playoff national championship game in January. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just saying, January 9th, if I'm not mistaken, at SoFi Stadium, which hosted this past Super Bowl, I think there's a very good chance it will host the big orange and white. Let's go Vols. On to the next one. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube. Be sure to click that big red subscribe button and go check out the other clips and full shows of Carving It Up Live. Have a blessed day.